society and can never agree with the overall meaning of the Qur'an. All of us have to be part of the dialogue, because without realizing it, we are all affected by what happens in society. And we shouldn't behave like people, huh, how come this happened? It's happening under our nose. So the Qur'an tells us in chapter 42, verse 13, شَرَعَ لَكُمْ مِنَ الدِّينِ مَا وَصَّى بِهِ نُوحًا. And I explained to you last week that Sharia, a word that is used so popularly in Muslim circles, is gained popularity in North America as well, and in France and in England, and of course has always been popular in the Muslim lands. And if you ask the average Muslim about Sharia, they have a bird's eye view of Sharia. Most of the people in Africa, in the Arab world, in Asia, in North America, in the Caribbean, in Europe, wherever Sharia is used, they have the meagerest of sense of understanding. They hardly understand what this is. To most of them, Sharia means, oh Lord, laws where you're chopping off hands. Laws where you chop off hands. You cut off heads. You put lashes on people's back. Women can't go on the road unless they're dressed like Arabs or Iranians. Or nowadays, like Afghanis or Pakistanis. And that culture has come all over North America. So they understood Sharia to mean laws of punishment. But Sharia, the least that Sharia is involved with is in punishing people. The most that Sharia is about is providing sustenance to people, providing hope to people, providing enlightenment to people, providing empowerment to people, providing enhancement to people. That kind of Sharia you don't hear. All those so-called Muslim countries and communities that talk about Sharia and are quick to put lashes on people's back or take off their heads, especially on this holy day of Jummah, or to cut off hands, what are they doing to remove the cataract, figuratively speaking, from the eyes of their citizens? What are they doing to replace the rights that they have confiscated from their citizens? What are they doing to remove the prejudice that they've allowed their people to grow with? What are they doing to make their people empowered to fulfill their dreams, their hopes, their aspirations? What are they doing to give people their rights? That they will finally realize that God didn't send down anybody named king. God didn't send down anybody named dictator as part of something that is approved and tolerated by Islam. Sharia, as I told you, in the Arabic language, which is hardly understood by 99% of the Muslims, Sharia speaks of a source of water that is visible, that you and I can never finish. An eternal source of water. The Arabs used to call Sharia not a well. The Arabs would not call Sharia a little ditch of water, something they gotta go and look in the whole desert to find. The Arabs will call Sharia a source of water that they can drink, their animals can drink, they can use for cooking, they can irrigate the land, and this water doesn't finish. So this is what guidance is all about. When you and I start to access the guidance, No matter how many human beings pursue the guidance from that source, we could never exhaust it. And the Sharia is not something you've got to go on Mount Everest to look for, or go in the jungles of any country of the world to look for. The Qur'an is always there for people like you and me. Right? But how many of us really go to it to drink from its source? Many people are too busy drinking from other sources. Most people have already drunk their full. There is no room in their stomach to drink the wisdom, the loftiness of the Qur'an. Because why? They have already drunk from their culture and their tradition. So they don't have room in their heart. And this is a figure of speech that Allah told me and you in the Qur'an. That you and I would know when goodness is being made our lot. That's when we are going to caress goodness. We will have enough room in our life, figuratively, in our self and in our mind, to accommodate submissiveness. But when we don't want to submit, figuratively, the heart will be made so closed as there is no space to hold it. And you deal with people. I deal with them every day. And I see why they cannot go forward. They can't see that perhaps. As a teacher, I've dealt with all kinds of people. And I see the reason why they can't go forward, because they are their own obstacle. They don't know, yet they argue so much that they know. And that's our folly as human beings. There's an attitude to learning. Any student who goes to school, what is the attitude to learning? You've got to be humble. You've got to be respectful. You've got to allow the knowledge to settle. And use your upper chamber to understand what your teacher is telling you. Otherwise, you will not go past grade A or grade B or grade 1, much less get to college or university or whatnot. So the Sharia that Allah has sent to Prophet Muhammad and Prophet Abraham and Prophet Moses and Prophet Jesus, what do you think the Sharia was about? This Sharia was concerned about sustaining human life, developing human life, enhancing human life, empowering human life. Listen to those words. Those are very powerful words that the average human being doesn't have. The average Muslim man, woman and child don't have the power to change their lives and to make it in touch with the Qur'anic loftiness. They have all the power to follow the rituals of their forefathers, which they do night and day. That's why you see most people are worried if they can get part of the Jummah prayer. Most people are concerned to do what? I want to get the Jummah Salah. Because they feel if they get the Jummah Salah, they get something great. This is what they were fed. Although they don't understand what is even read in Arabic. You can't take that kind of currency to your office or to the world in which you live in, because this world requires you and me to deliver in a practical way. So Sharia, the good news is Sharia is all about good news. Sharia is not about punishing people, putting lashes on them, even those interpretations of those laws to cut off people's hands. This is the interpretation of the Arabs and the Persians. This Quran doesn't tell anybody to cut off anybody's hand. The word yad in Arabic doesn't mean hand. The lowest meaning is hand. Become a student of the Arabic language. The word of yad bil Arabiya means resource, capability, power, authority. That's what the word yad means. You could imagine if all those countries where they were cutting off the hands of the poor people, if all those leaders who have stolen the wealth of the country were following Sharia, what would have happened to the leaders?